Hi everyone, Caroline Defina here from Best Start Clinic. The holiday home practice topic I wanted to share with you today is on the topic of gaining attention. So it's something that lots of parents in our sessions together do bring to me and say, look, my child, he just doesn't respond. He doesn't respond to his name. We've been working on this for a long time. He's just oblivious, when I'm calling to him, when I'm giving instructions and making requests. It's very common and definitely, not just one of the daily experiences that parents have, but can sometimes be, one of the indicators of an autism spectrum disorder is that difficulty in responding and perhaps not responding to a child's name. Now, don't get me wrong, all children tune out to their name sometimes, and sometimes deliberately don't listen to their name. So we're not looking for a child on the spectrum to be always responding to their name, because children just don't do that. What we're looking for is ways in which we as the adults, early on when a child's having these difficulties, ways we can set things up to make sure that we're encouraging focus and attention and responsiveness, and also not setting things up and creating some habits where we're almost encouraging and making it habitual, because it happens so much, that a child with autism doesn't respond to his or her name. So when I'm starting out an ESDM training, or I'm starting out some parent coaching with a family, it's not something I raise necessarily at day one, but it's something that's 99% of the time there, that I will hear the child's name said 100 times. Jack, 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 Jack. So ESDM therapists who are doing the advanced training, they already have a number of years experience and are autism professionals before doing the training. So they're often people who know this, but we still hear the name said many, many times. So why are people saying a child's name that much? Really, it's just a way to gain attention. We're trying to get a child's attention and get their focus. Unfortunately, using their name doesn't always work, and we also don't want to create those habits of ignoring. So there's always a time and a place to use a child's name, but what I'd encourage you to do is think of some other ways you can gain attention, because that's what we want to do. The goal is to gain attention. Let's look at a range of different ways we can gain a child's attention. It might be positioning. So a previous video looked at positioning. If you'd like to go back to that, certainly do go and look at that, because it might give you some tips on how to gain the child's attention. The first thing might be, where are we located? Where's the child located? Look at the environment. Are there any other things going on that make it difficult for a child to respond or give attention? We might want to look at managing some of those distractors first, or some of those things that are creating competition to having attention on us. It might also be that the child is really focused on something sensory-wise. So they might be some distractors that we need to look at, or take that information and embed that in play in a different way to encourage a child to be able to share attention between us and some other objects. Another way to gain a child's attention is to use touch. So if you've gone up nice and close and you've bent down, you're at eye contact, you might also touch a child to create two different ways in which the child's getting information to hopefully bring the spotlight of attention onto you. Another way as well is to use not necessarily just a name, but to use other sounds or actions, other environmental sounds. You might have some toys that you're using. It might be shaking them or banging them, so that you get attention and a bit of a turn and a look over to you before you then give your verbal information to the child. It might be creating a bit of a bigger event. So if our kids are a little bit less responsive, it might mean that we need to up our ante a little bit. Not all the time. If we're like that all the time, then kids will just become used to it, but we use it as a technique to gain attention when we need to. Having that variety, having those moments of excitement, those moments of anticipation, those big pauses or gasps to really define a moment and try to gain your child's attention is a good way to, another way to get attention instead of using your child's name. So the thing with gaining attention is to make sure that you're using a variety of different techniques. Just like using a name all the time doesn't work, using any one of those other strategies won't work all the time. They're things that you want to try and practice and see what works best. I certainly know at home that with my two very young, boisterous boys that, on a different level, but they certainly do have their attention on certain things. I need to make sure that my positioning is right, my timing is right, that I use different approaches like, using touch or different techniques as well to gain their attention before I need to give instruction or have a conversation with them about something. So there's some general parenting techniques that you might be able to apply and really fine tune and superpower those techniques to a different degree to be effective for your child with autism. Happy practicing, gaining attention. It's certainly not easy, and it's something that really does need a lot of practice. But if you stick with it, hopefully you'll reap some rewards. Thanks. Have fun.